5+ powerful lessons from the book, Toxic People. Number 1. To begin, think of a person whom you do not particularly like, who makes you miserable, and whom you have difficulty getting along with. Answer yes or no to the following questions in 4 categories: emotional symptoms, behavioral symptoms, physical symptoms, and communication symptoms. Emotional symptoms. 1. Do you feel emotionally numb after you talk to this person? 2. Are you in a bad mood after being around the person? 3. Do you feel that the person, deep down, doesn't like you even though he or she never says mean things to you? 4. Do you come away feeling devalued when you have been around this person? 5. Do you feel dirty after being with this person? Behavioral symptoms. 1. Do you want to get away from him or her physically? 2. Do you drink more than usual or take drugs after being around this person? 3. Do you find yourself overeating or not eating at all when you are or have been around the person? 4. Do you have the urge to punch or do bodily harm to the person at times? 5. Do you plan ways to avoid the person? Physical symptoms. 1. Does the person give you a headache? 2. Do you scrunch up your face, knit your brow, and tense your nostrils whenever you are around or even think about this person? 3. Do you feel nauseous when with the person or afterward? 4. Do you cringe whenever you're around the person? 5. Do you have difficulty catching your breath? Communication symptoms. 1. Do you find that you walk on eggshells, are afraid to be yourself, and choose your words carefully when you talk to this person? 2. Is the person condescending toward you? 3. Is the expression on your face tense when you talk to the person? 4. Does the person speak harshly or aggressively to you? 5. Do you use a harsh or hostile tone in talking to this person? Yes answers to even a few of these questions mean that you are dealing with someone who is toxic to you. As you can see from the quiz, toxic people may affect different areas of your well-being, and different toxic people may affect you differently. They can change the way you behave and the way you feel. Number 2. When people give you a compliment, they are in essence giving you a gift. A compliment is a key that can unlock communication, a key that can open up a channel of understanding between two people. When it is sincere and spoken in a kind and nurturing tone, it can be the cement that binds a relationship. Somebody may say nice things to you in one breath. You're really so attractive. I love the way you're dressed. You really are put together well. And then completely contradict it. But your hair looks so messy, you should really wear it up. This is typical of backhanded compliments. They start out pleasantly, making you feel great, and end up ugly, causing you to feel awful. You may think that the person means well and intends to say loving, supportive things to you, but these backhanded compliments are really conveying, "I can't stand you," or "I'm jealous of you," or "I don't like you," or "You don't have it all," or "Who do you think you are?" or "You need to be put in your place," or "You're no better than I am." The tone of voice is a surefire giveaway of a person's actual feelings about you. It is often not what is said, but how that can reflect people's sincerity. Sarcastic tones, loud tones, and monotones often express hostile feelings. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, you probably will not see us again. If you have, congratulations, you are growing every day. Number 3. Has anyone ever said something shocking or bizarre to you, watched your face turn red with anger or contort in disgust, and immediately, in an attempt to negate the hostile comment, claimed that he or she was only kidding? Meanwhile, you feel as though you have just been flattened by a steamroller. Sigmund Freud's theory that there are no jokes, only truth, readily applies in these instances. People who say or do a mean thing to you, then tell you that they were only kidding, are revealing a lot. They are telling you how negatively they really feel about you. People who use the "I was only kidding" syndrome often want to get your attention or elicit a reaction from you. They may succeed in doing so, but your reaction is likely to be so negative that you may never want to deal with them again. Number 4. Jealousy is a primitive response. After all, why do dogs bark at a small child whom you are cooing over and admiring? Why are some wild animals willing to kill others in their pack who have more food than they do? Why do verbal and toilet-trained 3-year-olds stop talking, regress into baby talk, or even begin to wet and soil their pants when a new infant arrives home? It's because of jealousy and its concomitant envy. the discontent and feelings of inadequacy brought about by another's possessions, success, or love, and the desire to have them for oneself, while toxic people behave the way they do because they may be jealous of you. It is important to acknowledge that jealousy can cause you to behave in a toxic way also. Number 5. A toxic person is someone who seeks to destroy you. A toxic person robs you of your self-esteem and dignity and poisons the essence of who you are. He or she wears down your resistance and thus can make you mentally or physically ill. Toxic people are not life-supporting. They see only the negative in you. Jealous and envious, they are not happy to see you succeed. In fact, they get hostile whenever you do well. Their insecurities and feelings of inadequacy often cause them to sabotage your efforts to lead a happy and productive life. Toxic people hate you when you succeed and when you are beautiful. They also hate you when you fail. Thus, you can't win for losing, and you lose for winning. People are going to either like you or dislike you for your successes or your failures, and there is nothing you can do about it. It is my general belief that most people are good, not evil. Human beings are born innocent, sweet, loving, happy, open, receptive, and harmless. Research has shown that babies are not born with hate and envy. We will never know if people are toxic as the result of their environment, how they were raised, their specific biological makeup, their genetic composition, or a combination of both factors. We will never know with certainty why someone turns toxic and someone else does not. If a person is toxic as the result of a horrible upbringing and a dearth of parental love, it should not matter to you. What really matters is whether or not the person is toxic to you. Whatever a person's reputation or toxicity to others, the only thing to concern you is that you be treated with the dignity and respect that you deserve. If you are around a toxic person for a long time and you let this person's poison eat at you, you may be subject to psychosomatic illness. The individual's negativity can wear down your physical resistance. By repressing your anger and not confronting the toxic person, you could develop a serious, even fatal illness. Number 6. 10 techniques for handling toxic people. These 10 techniques for dealing with toxic people have been utilized by countless clients of mine who have found them effective in coping with the demons in their lives. After mastering the techniques, they have experienced dramatic improvements in their health, their attitudes, their business ventures, and their personal relationships. The tension blowout technique. This technique underlies all the others as it helps you to gain physical control over your emotions. What happens when someone upsets you? When you are so angry, you could spit nails, your adrenaline starts to flow, your heart beats faster, your head begins to throb, and your face reddens, and eyes begin to bulge as you hold onto your breath. Using the tension blowout technique helps you to oxygenate yourself immediately and serves as a vehicle for releasing your tension and regaining your body's homeostatic balance. It allows you to gain oxygen and release carbon dioxide in a controlled, systematic way. The humor technique. You can not only release tension, but amuse yourself in the process. How often do you think of a clever response to a toxic comment hours later? How many times have you lain relaxed in bed at night and mulled over an incident, then mentally beat yourself up because you didn't say what you really wanted to at the time? With the humor technique, you can respond at once and achieve the additional benefit of laughter. Use the tension blowout technique, and when you hold in your breath, think of something amusing to say. It doesn't matter if it sounds stupid to them, as long as it's funny to you. The stop the thought technique. Sometimes you may be so angry at a person that you feel as though you are going to explode. Every time you think of the individual or of his or her actions, you are overwhelmed with negative emotion. In this case, not only do you need to do the tension blowout technique, but when you blow out, you need to yell, "Stop the thought." Every time you think of the person or the situation, you have to hear yourself saying, "Stop the thought," either out loud or quietly to yourself. This technique can be a lifesaver. You won't drive yourself crazy rehashing a toxic situation over and over again in your mind. You may wake up feeling great. Your day is going along just fine, until all of a sudden that ugly thought comes into your head, and your spunky mood turns sour as you relive the toxic moment. Soon you find yourself becoming even more irate as you beat yourself up for not saying what you should have said and for getting involved with the toxic individual in the first place. Your head feels like a volcano that is about to explode as visions of the toxic person and scenes of the toxic situation replay again and again in your mind's eye. The mirror technique. The mirror technique forces toxic people to see their behavior reflected back to them. When you employ the mirror technique, you don't have to beat someone over the head with their ugly behavior. Instead, you just need to give a glimpse of how ugly the person is being so that an immediate change for the better can be made. Sometimes people need to know how obnoxious they really are, and they need to know it immediately by seeing a reflection of the way they acted toward you. You are not only letting them know that what they said to you was unacceptable, you are causing them to realize what it feels like to have nasty things said to you. The direct confront technique. The direct confront technique is excellent to use when someone makes a nasty, biting comment to you. If you can't think of a funny or clever retort or can't recall a comeback from the humor technique section, then you may want to tell the person boldly how you feel about what he or she said or did. The direct confront technique prevents you from becoming a victim. Others will usually respect you for speaking up and saying what is on your mind. In directly confronting someone, it is essential that you project your voice so that you can be heard and speak in a well-modulated tone. You can use emotion in your voice to make an impression of conviction and confidence. Using the direct confront technique not only causes others to respect you, but allows you to gain more self-respect as you say what you mean. The calm questioning technique. The calm questioning technique lets toxic people see how absurd, ridiculous, or stupid their ideas or comments are. As you take someone through a series of questions that require yes or no answers in a logical progression, you become like a courtroom lawyer who is trying to make an important point by having a witness respond to a succession of queries. When using this technique, it is imperative that you speak calmly and sound as though you are in control, not allowing your emotions to take over. This technique is so powerful that, if you do it well, you can not only get your point across, but often even change other people's way of thinking by presenting another viewpoint based on questions they have to answer and be accountable for. You are not talking to them, but rather working out answers with them. By speaking and commenting, they become active parts of the communication process. The calm questioning technique can also help you acquire more information about a person or situation. You then know where you stand, or what the real story is. The give them hell and yell technique. We have all been taught that it is not ladylike or gentlemanly to get angry, scream or yell or lose your temper. I say this is nonsense. Sometimes you have to scream and yell because this is the only way you can be heard. Sometimes you get so enraged that the only thing you can possibly do to let off steam so you don't end up with a cerebral hemorrhage is to yell and really let a person have it. Sometimes you use profanity or curse because that is the only way you can release your anger. As Mark Twain once said, under certain circumstances, profanity provides a relief denied even to prayer. Although I wouldn't recommend a steady diet of it, because that would turn you into a toxic person yourself. Sometimes you need profanity to get your point across. Four-letter words may not be socially acceptable, but they may be the only words that toxic people will actually hear as you shock them into listening to you. The give them love and kindness technique. We've all heard the Christian precept to turn the other cheek when someone does us wrong. It may be one of the most difficult things to do, especially if you subscribe to the eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth philosophy. In using this technique, it is important to keep in mind that no matter how ugly, nasty, or hateful sounding a person is toward you, you must never lose your cool. You must be calm, use soothing and friendly loving tones, and you must smile. How can you do this in the face of so much negativity? Just keep remembering how much pain that person must be in, how empty and unloved that they must be feeling inside, and how much self-loathing underlies such actions. As you put out love and kindness, it is amazing what behavioral changes you will see. The person's tone will often soften, the body language will loosen up, and they may even end up smiling and saying nice things back to you. The vicarious fantasy technique. The the vicarious fantasy technique, can help you release tension by giving you a giggle or a laugh as you use your imagination. The vicarious fantasy technique has gotten a lot of play recently with the media frenzy over the John and Lorena Bobbitt case, in which the wife cut off her husband's penis and flung it out the window of her car. The police recovered the organ, and it was reattached in a 10-hour surgical procedure. The unplug technique. The unplug technique should be reserved for the most severely toxic people, those with whom you can no longer deal. When you have tried every other technique to no avail, there is nothing you can do but let them go. Visualize yourself unplugging from them, as if from an electric socket. You need to become devoid of emotion regarding them. You completely let go and no longer care what happens to them. You don't care if they live or die. You don't wish them evil, and you don't wish them well either. You just let them out of your life for good and never look back. Number 7. So many of us spend our entire lives feeling angry, depressed, unloved, or empty. Often we can't put our finger on anything specific, but we know that something isn't right. It is only when we search our lives, looking deep into our hearts, and honestly examining our past and present, that we can clearly see how we have internalized our hostile responses to certain toxic people. Perhaps we're angry at our mothers for not acting as we wanted, or we are upset by all men because we can't find the right mate after going from disappointment to disappointment. You mustn't ever take your anger out at anyone, especially yourself, other than the source. That way, you would end up a toxic person yourself. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, you probably will not see us again. If you have, congratulations, you are growing every day.